All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is Mark. He's a veteran of 20 years, um, combat air control, right?
6 years Air Force, 14 years Department of Defense, air traffic controller the entire time. One tour in Iraq.
Extreme sports,
Yeah,
comedian.
yeah.
He's just an interesting guy. So I'm just honored to have him on my podcast. And we're just talking, having lunch, and we were just talking about a lot of stuff. How you been, man?
Good, been really good.
Good. The craziest story that you said that touched me was how you took that SSRI,
Yeah,
and it completely just made you just more curious to learning, and you just became smarter.
yeah,
You just tell us more about that, bro. It's really interesting.
yeah. And a lot something was weird. Back in I forget the exact date, but around 2008ish, 9ish time frame, I went to the doctor for insomnia. Been dealing with insomnia and sleep paralysis since I was about 15. We'll get into sleep paralysis later if you like. But the doctor prescribed it off-label, Lexapro, which is an SSRI, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's prescribed mainly for depression.
Right.
And I wasn't there for depression.
You were there because you couldn't
For
really
sleep,
sleep, right?
yeah. He's like, well, if you take this, it'll quiet the voices in your head that keep you up at night. I didn't really know anything. I was still from that generation, of like, oh, doctor tells you something's right.
That's back then. People are waking up to that,
Uh-huh.
man. Like always question things, ladies and gentlemen. Always question things. Energy, whether it's anything you do in life, whether the trained professional tells you to do it, go do your own Google research, question it. Right?
Yeah.
Do you recommend that?
Oh yeah. Well, I have issues with that as well. But one thing my dad kind of raised me is, that trust but verify.
My dad didn't. That's the thing. I kind of had to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, my family's from like Soviet Union, like I told you, and it was just like the government's your friend. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
I just do what you're told.
Yeah.
Your elders they know better than you.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, my elders don't have internet access like I do. They don't even know how to help it. Like even my current job, I'm the one that tells my elders what to do, to help them. Well, I mean, I have to guide them the right way, but trust but verify, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I always have this little premise I've been working on for a while, trying to find a good way to mold it into a good comedy bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the premise is, growing up. How old are you?
I'm 34. I must have turned 35.
So you're around the generation myself. I'm 42.
Okay.
So from the years pre-internet, where you asked your parents a question like, the chicken and egg question, why is the sky blue?
Yeah.
They give you an answer, and you're like, okay. Where nowadays, it's got to suck to be a parent, because if the kid asks you a question, you answer it, they'll go, oh, dad's a dumbass.
Oh man.
My parents don't know shit.
Yeah. Or you could spend that time and just sit down with your kid, like, that's a great question. You know what? I don't know. That's what a real man would do. Say, let's find out together, son. And then just spend the afternoon with your kid finding out why.
Yeah.
And just treat that kid's imagination.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's to not digress too much.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah. But
So
that's how my dad raised me, is like trust but verify. And also another big thing I always put in my head is like, no matter how good you are at something, no matter what kind of expert you are, there's always someone better. So basically, don't ever get too full of yourself.
Don't ever get too full of yourself. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Or there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good.
But the SSRI deal, and I started taking it, and I don't know if it just honed in my focus or what it did, but it just unlocked something where I went from only had read 2 novels in my entire life. Like even in school when I had to, took some honors classes that I probably shouldn't have been in. You had to read books over the summer. I'd read like a couple pages of back cover and just, bullshit of paper to turn in.
Yeah, that's how high school was back then.
Yeah. So once I started taking the Lexapro, I just went. I mean, that first year I read a stack of books.
Really? Like 20, 30 books?
Yeah, just a stack. And that's when I was like, well, the first couple books I read were Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion and Christopher Hitchens' God is Not Great.
God is Not
Great. And
he has this other book called The Blind Watchmaker.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. I've read a few of his biology books.
Mm-hmm.
But reading their books, the atheist stuff aside, it was the words they used. I found myself with a dictionary on almost every page, and a spark hit me where I was like, I don't know the English language as well as I thought I did.
Or how to articulate it as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, they use some words way above and beyond, and it's on every page. So that's when I just started going down the rabbit hole and went back to school.
So it sparked your curiosity for knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't like not knowing.
Yeah.
I don't like feeling dumb.
That's why I started this podcast. Because there's something about like magic and science. We were talking about earlier about breathing.
Mm-hmm.
How it could like just give you more energy. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I mean, your body gets more energy. But it also does something to you psychologically too.
Yeah.
Like for example, we're talking about you being in the ice bath for 20 minutes. Or scientifically, which I don't even believe scientists, if you're in there for 3 minutes, you'll get hypothermia and you will die. But you were in there for 20 minutes, and I actually believe that because Wim Hof was in there for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
and nothing happened to him.
Well, he climbed Everest up to like I forget 24,000 feet or something.
Yeah,
in shorts.
In shorts, I think it was Kilimanjaro. But yeah, it was. I looked into that one. Yeah, in shorts, dude. Yeah. Without a shirt, he had shoes on and he had shorts. If I tried that, I will literally die.
Yeah. You have to obviously train to it, but it's our untapped potential as humans is modern society has limited our thinking on what we're capable of.
Yeah.
I think we're capable of so much more. Like Wim Hof has proved that, David Goggins has proved that, many of the other people that push it 100%. Way past the limits.
Yeah.
But you have to train yourself to that as well. And to me,
I love Goggins.
I don't have any like full research into this, but it's just my own thought process.
But even with you adopting that, you're able to push yourself to the next level. Yeah. Because you believe in yourself more now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, but even you doing 20-minute ice bath, you're breaking that barrier of 3 minutes hypothermia. So you can go to the next level. Mm-hmm. So, and then the way that I see it is, if I see you do it, why can't I do it?
Well, that's the same thing with sports, with world records, running or anything. Is people always thought like, oh, this is the fastest that someone can run in this amount of time, period.
Like the
and no matter what, no one can break it. And then when that first person breaks it, all of a sudden everyone starts breaking it.
That's exactly what happened with the 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantly, like everyone else goes, oh shit, I can do it too. And then they start pushing and they're like, oh, I can do it. But if you look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, especially when it comes to the breathing, the ice baths, being able to withstand extreme hots, extreme colds, every biological form on this planet we all share the same DNA. Like when I look at a blade of grass, I don't just look at a blade of grass. I look at something that holds the same genes that I hold. Our genes are different, but it's the same DNA.
We have it all in there. It's triggered differently by the environment.
So our ancestors survived ice ages. They survived extreme hots, extreme colds. So it's in our DNA to survive those things. So it's how do we tap into those? How do we trigger and turn on and off those? I guess that would be epigenetic.
Epigenetics, exactly what it is. A lot of it has to do with just breathing, dude. Wim Hof, and that's why I do meditations because it really helps. There's the placebo effect, dude, where you can literally cure cancer. Yeah. With your mind. Do you believe in that?
Yeah. Every chemical, every drug that we take, every drug that's been discovered, every drug that will be discovered, all the drug is doing is tapping a trigger in your brain. Your brain is the real pharmacy. The drug is just going and releasing that shit. That's why the placebo works. It's because it's fooling your brain into thinking it's getting that drug and it's releasing the chemicals that is needed for that to work.
Do you have any advice for people that don't want to take the drugs and just, cure and help themselves? What would be the first thing you could do? Believe in yourself?
I think it's, and I don't like using terms of like within the world of, like I was telling you, with
you don't like crystals.
The spiritual talk and stuff. Like I'm more, let's get into the nuts and bolts of the facts. What works, what doesn't, what's proven, what's not. And one thing you see with certain individuals, I have friends that are going through it now, and I known people in the past, you'll get someone that's diagnosed with cancer or some terminal illness. And they'll usually do one of two things. They'll go down a dark hole, and they usually die pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Or they go, oh shit, my time is almost up. It's time to grasp life by the balls. Like one of my friends right now that I do some of my extreme sports with, I met him through that. He's going through his own stuff right now.
Is that the ayahuasca guy?
No, it's someone else.
Okay.
But they're checking off the bucket list.
That's awesome, man.
And they tried the chemical route and just like, this is destroying me. So I'm going to utilize the time I got left in trying the other methods and stuff. And also a huge advocate of mushrooms.
Yeah, like, tell us more about that, brother.
And I'm not just talking like psychedelic mushrooms. I'm talking like
psilocybin mushrooms.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like turkey tail, lion's mane, cordyceps, your medicinal mushrooms.
Okay.
They have, there's a lot of evidence now, scientific evidence that proves of like the cancer killing effects of, I forget exactly which one does what, because I'm still like getting into the nuts and bolts of it. But I think turkey tail has anti-cancer properties. Lion's mane has like cognitive memory improving properties. Oh yeah.
Lion's mane mushrooms. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely gonna look into that.
And especially if you can get extract, because you can buy it. Paul Stamets sells some.
Yeah, Paul Stamets.
But a lot of the ones you get, it's like, you can take 1 or 2 of these pills a day, this and that. But for the real effects of it, you need it condensed and you need to be taking a lot of it. And it's not something where it's like, oh, you take too much, it's going to hurt you. You can take a shit ton of it and you're good. You can cut up a steak of lion's mane and butter it up, saute it, and eat it. It's good.
It's good for you.
And there's so many of these other mushrooms that they're starting to see have all these different properties that interact within us that help our health. And
but the problem with that is, I see the pharmaceutical companies kind of pushing back, or they're trying to like stigmatize that because they can't make money off it because it's a one-time thing. You do it, you get better.
Of course.
Versus keeping someone on the hook for like 10 years.
Just look at, not to get into it, don't want to get into it because I can't stand it, but like with everything with the COVID and the vaccines, look at every single outlet that's pushing the vaccines hardcore. All the commercial breaks. You've probably seen the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not vaccinated.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
Like I got the first 2 vaccinations when they first came available because through the VA, they offered them soon. They offered them free.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't like to be slowed down. I don't like to be inconvenienced. And I was like, fuck it, I'll take it. It keeps me from being inconvenienced. I'm not scared of getting COVID. I'm not scared of vaccine. I've had an anthrax shot. I've had smallpox shot. Nothing gets worse than that. Anthrax is like kerosene going through your veins.
Anthrax shot?
Oh,
I heard the worst is what's that one shot, dude? Syphilis.
I haven't had that one.
No, penicillin shot. Penicillin shot. I heard that one hurts a lot, dude. Your hand goes numb. Have you had that in the military?
Penicillin, I feel like I've had before, just as a kid, like one of those shots in the ass. But in the military, basically, they give you like
they give like 20 shots
and stuff. But when I deployed to Iraq, part of the line was you had to get smallpox vaccination and you had to get anthrax. And it was like a series, I forget, like 5 or 6 or something. And I got like, I want to say 3 in the series, and then they came out saying like, now it's your choice. You don't have to get it if you don't want. I was like, yep, I'm done, because they inject it, and like a few minutes later, it just feels like fire running through your veins. Because I got a whole comedy bit about that, but basically I got it injected. Heard horror stories about it. They injected it, and I was like, that ain't bad. I'm weak. Got in my car, started up, grabbed the shifter, and went, oh my God. It just felt like someone filled my veins with kerosene and then lit a match.
That bad. Okay. Let me ask you this question, because you're saying we're talking about the mind and the body, and some people are just really powerful. I'm sure you know some like special forces guys or some Navy SEALs guys. Do you think they're like really tough as nails up there? Like, do you feel like there's a difference between them, and that's why they are who they are?
Gotta be.
Like Goggins.
That's what like the whole like I don't know any Navy SEALs and stuff. I got a good friend that he was a Army Ranger instructor, so I know some people like more in that world. But that's the whole point of the program they go through. They're not weeding out strong individuals from weak individuals. They're weeding out strong from weak. Because from my understanding of special operators, a lot of them are like my size. They're not these big, swole up, overly muscular type people. They're people, it's like a pit bull. People think of pit bulls, like the fighting pit bulls is those big overgrown ones.
Yeah.
The fighting pit bulls are like the 60, 70 pound ones because you're agile, you can move, you can do stuff, but you also got to be strong to carry all that stuff.
Okay.
But that aside, yes, it's about the mind. That's like my career, air traffic control. Our washout rate is like 80%.
Why is it 80% though? And tell me what an aircraft.
You have to be mentally strong.
Okay. Tell me what they do exactly, because you were telling me off camera, and I didn't really know exactly. So tell me in detail a little more.
So if you can imagine, like, bring up like Google Maps.
Okay.
And you got the road system and everything that you have to drive along.
The grid.
The grid, and everyone kind of on their own doesn't hit each other. Now imagine that a similar system, but put it 3D, and going from the ground to 1,000 feet all the way to 60,000 feet.
Okay.
And then within that grid, you have obstacles. You have airspaces that are like these blocks of airspace that no planes can touch.
And then there's weather.
There's weather.
There's cloud. All those
everything.
other factors. There's night, day that affects it too. Is there like, does the magic hour also affect it too? Like that 1 hour where the sun sets and it's like really blinding to the naked eye.
It doesn't matter because we're the ones flying that plane.
Okay.
The pilots in there looking at it. If they can't see anything, they're looking at instruments. And the instruments are telling them the plane is level, the plane is going this way, the plane is doing this, the plane is doing that. We're their window. We're the ones that know, like, there's another plane here at this altitude for them not to hit. So we're telling them, like, altitudes to maintain. You have different rules in which way planes can fly at different altitudes. And then you have this whole grid system of airways, which is kind of like highways and interstates in the sky. So you're having to take planes from here and bring them to the ground here. And you're having to do it crossing through all the other traffic. So you're having to move traffic out of the way, bring people down, stop them at altitudes, let planes pass, drop them back down, stair step them down and up and through each other. So it's just like,
so you're playing a 4D chess. You're not playing
basically
chess. Yeah, you're playing 4D chess here.
That's why, like, we're weeding out the weak too, the mentally weak, because you can't afford someone to sit and break down in position. When you're sitting there working those planes, you have to be there because you can't just stop. If you just stop, people die, and you don't. It's not like one or two people die.
Like
hundreds die.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want that to happen.
You're on.
Yeah.
Like, to pass any of our tests, like a 70 is not passing, an 80 is passing.
That's barely passing.
Like, our standards are much higher than most standards.
Good. Well, yeah, because you guys have a lot of people's lives in that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Anyone that flies, if you've ever flown in an airplane,
all the time,
either me or someone I know, most likely your life has been in their hand.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we don't really take that into account. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you for not crashing anyone. That's a big deal, dude. That's not even funny. It is kind of funny. You could probably make a bit about it because you're a company.
I got bits about it.
Where can people come see you? I'm gonna come see you on Tuesday in Salt Lake. What was the place called again?
Wise Guys.
Wise Guys.
Yeah, I'll be there on Tuesday doing the open mic. And like I said, right now, I was on kind of a on and off hiatus for the last 2 years, building up my extreme sports. And I've been doing the comedy for almost 8 years. So now I'm trying to ramp the comedy back up. I'm trying to spin everything in together. Like I was telling you, I'm going to start doing a podcast from the cockpit of an airplane.
Yeah, you did tell me that. I'd love to see that, bro. That'd be awesome. Because you said you got some cool headsets. And you're going to just take people up in the sky.
Yep.
Let me know, dude, when you want to go. I haven't been to a private plane like that. Like a small private plane.
Well, that's part of it, is because most people,
the
first time in there, like when I take people fly, odds are it's their first time ever on those little planes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I fly all the time. Like this month alone, I flew twice.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like, oh yeah, whatever. But like if I'm like right there, you're right there. Like it's just me and you. Like you see the sky and it's loud. It's completely different, bro.
Oh yeah.
Because usually there's a TV in front of me. It's Delta.
The cockpit is about as wide as you to me.
Mm-hmm. It's
like
so
our arms are touching the doors,
mm-hmm.
and our arms are almost touching each other. That's how wide it is.
Nice. So
it's tiny.
So for pilots and things like that, I feel like some of them, like over time, they develop like a sixth sense to the plane and how it works. Have you ever seen that in pilots yourself? Like when you try to like control them?
It's anything really. Like I drive, ride motorcycles,
Skydiving,
the base jumping, the snowboarding, everything. The more you do it, it turns from an outside force to an appendage. Like if you ever watch someone that is like on a high level, like a Red Bull guy,
like focusing,
the way you watch like an extreme, like high level snowboarder.
They're in the zone.
You don't look at them and go, that snowboard is strapped to their feet. You look at them and go, that snowboard is part of them.
Yeah.
You start to have a feel of that mechanical device that's strapped to you, like it's a finger touching this. That feels like, how much pressure you need to put on it. The more you use these objects, they start becoming part of you. Like, so when you're flying, it's like when you're driving a car. Like I've worked on cars, did my own mechanic work since I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Not growing up with a whole lot. Instead of my dad being one of those parents who are like, I want to give you everything. He's like, I want to give you the knowledge to be able to build and achieve the things you need.
Like you want to teach a man to fish instead of just giving them the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
That's how my dad was. So
Good.
Since I was a teenager, my first vehicle, I've been working on my own vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So when you work on them, when you're driving them, like you don't just drive a car. I'm constantly feeling the car, listening to it, the engine. So when one little thing changes, the hum changes just a little bit, anything changes, I'm starting to run a series of diagnostics in my head of like, all right, did the gradient of the road change, and that's causing the wheels to vibrate on them different, it's vibrating through the car and making me think it's something with the vehicle? Or is the engine starting to sputter in a certain way that, a spark plug may have went out, a wire may have broke, going from distributor to the spark plug.
Mm-hmm.
Is my oil getting low and it's causing this to happen? Like you start running those because you develop the feel for it. Your body and your mind get so used to this thing, and it's always reading it. It gets to a point where it feels like it's a sixth sense, but it's just your subconscious that's so strong.
Yeah, I like that. Your subconscious is getting lifted to your conscious mind, so you're consciously aware of everything going on.
It's
you're hyper aware.
The best example I can give of that is if you've ever been in a bar and you just get that feeling of like something bad is about to happen. Something is about to pop off.
I used to be a DJ.
We need to get out of here.
And a bartender.
Have you ever got that feel?
Yeah.
What I think that feel is your subconscious, through time and being in so many of those situations, have put a puzzle together that your conscious mind doesn't see everything that's happening, but your subconscious is going, I'm familiar with this. I see this going on over here. I see this going on over here. This is going on over here. A squared plus B squared equals time to get the fuck out, because every other time these things have added up, it had equaled this. And it's just like your conscious go, hey, wake up. You're paying attention to your DJ board. We're paying attention to everything else. We're trying to make you aware of something is about to fucking pop off.
Yeah.
I think that's what a sixth sense is.
Nice.
It's a well-trained subconscious.
That makes perfect sense. But do you think that's the same for combat zones?
Oh yeah.
Same exact way that happens.
I think it's everything.
But you can't it just doesn't just randomly happen. Over time you develop it
more
better and better.
The thing about combat zones is in some way, shape, or form, you're trained to it. Like whenever I went, I had a little bit of training, not a whole lot. I was air traffic controller. I'm not someone that's out there in front line pointing the gun at them.
Yeah. Did you have a gun though?
They gave me an M16. I traveled all the way to Iraq with this M16, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
To travel commercial with a fully auto war weapon. And as soon as we got off the C-130 in Iraq, they marched us straight to the armory to turn our guns in and gave them back when we left. You can go on YouTube, look up Kirkuk, Iraq 2004, and you'll see the night I was there when we got mortared. They caught a field on fire. The field spread to the ammo dump, and it was like throwing a match in a box of fireworks. We had 2,000-pound bombs going off, mortars, rockets, everything just
like
going
fireworks
everywhere. They were trying to, like when they took advantage of it, they were trying to hop the fences and gates to attack us and shit. None of the Air Force personnel had weapons. That's because they took them from us and put them in the armory.
Why?
Even though we were labeled the most attacked base since Vietnam. I have the hat that I wore over there, on the back underneath it, I put a hash mark for each time we're attacked. Not each.
Wait, in Vietnam or Afghanistan?
No, Iraq.
Oh, Iraq, okay.
Each time we were attacked, sometimes it'd be one mortar or rocket, sometimes it'd be 5. But for each attack, not munition that hit us, but attack, I put a hash mark on my hat. I was there about 4 months. I have 56 hash marks.
And you just
on that hat. The first night that we got attacked, it's, oh shit, like you're getting out to the bunker, you're just
adrenaline's taking
adrenaline. And then you're looking out and you're seeing all these other people just moseying on down, walking to it. And you're like, what are they doing? Are we going to attack? Why are they not running? And like a day or two later, you're doing the same thing. You're like, oh, here you go again. Find a chair, bring it out there. Be out there probably an hour or two. And then like,
you bring a chair, that's what you're thinking?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, well, let me just bring a chair so I can sit down.
Well, it got to a point with me where the attacks got so regular, you can almost put it like clockwork. People would go set up a table in a bunker and start watching DVDs waiting to get attacked because they knew it was coming.
Okay.
So I would wait because you had to do what's called a combat shower over there. So when you went to take a shower, you get wet, turn the water off, lather up, rinse off, get out.
So you can hear stuff or what? Like, what's the purpose of that?
Conserving water, conserving heat, like all that stuff.
So here's the thing.
So I would wait for the attacks, and when we get attacked, I would just go take a shower while everyone's in the bunker. So I give me a nice long hot shower.
Okay. But look, we're laughing about that. But if that happens every time and you become kind of like numb to it,
oh yeah,
what the hell happens when you come back to civilian life back in the States?
It's a different kind of reset because where I was stationed at was Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. That's a test base for the United States military. So any weapon, any plane, whatever the military has is tested there. So at night when you live there, you hear bombs and guns all night long rocking the place because they're shooting into we have pieces of land that we cordon off and they test shit.
Okay.
They drop stuff. They'll launch missiles off the Atlantic, chasing with F-16s all around the place, and they'll go and they'll blow up in those land areas.
Okay.
And people live just a couple miles from where they're dropping. So your house is always shaking. So I was out there staying with a girlfriend at the time, and all night long you hear boom, boom, and I'm constantly like getting shaken out of bed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was actually in a combat zone, and it didn't bother me. Now I'm here where it's safe, and it's bothering me. And I think that is just, that's something new, like PTSD is something new in history. Because most people throughout history, and a lot of people still today around the world, they don't have a chance to reach a safe zone to have that affect them. They're in a constant state of guard. Something is about to happen, I'm about to die every second of their life. That's how it was all through history. Like we're in a special place and time right now.
Yeah, right now.
Be so safe.
Yeah, we are. We're super safe. We're super spoiled. Do you think the difference between PTSD and just like warriors is maybe like free will, or maybe like sometimes people just don't want to go out to war and they have to, and then they do some stuff and they get PTSD, or you don't think that has anything to do with it? Versus someone saying, I'm going to go die, if they kill my family, I'm going to go avenge them, I'm going to charge against 20 people, and they don't have PTSD.
I think those people can still come back with it.
Yeah.
PTSD is not just war-related. Like, it can happen from a car wreck. It can happen from an assault.
Yeah.
Like, anything that's outside the norm of your safety, your own safety, depending on how you're raised and what you deem is safe and not safe. Like someone who's raised
in Afghanistan.
Like take the girl, I forget her name, something Park, I think, from North Korea, where she grew up walking over dead bodies and seeing people raped and murdered and everything. So to her, like, that's just a normal day. And she comes here and sees people complaining because someone said a word to them that they didn't like. And, oh, I've been assaulted. And she's like, that's not assault. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's all relative. If you're raised in an abusive household and you grow up and someone slaps you, you're like, yeah, they slapped me. I hit them back. I'm not going to call the cops. Someone was raised in a very suburban, safe household where they're coddled real nicely. They go out in the real world and someone slaps them. They're calling the cops. They're trying to take everything from them. They want this person in prison for life.
Yeah, okay,
it's all relative.
It's all relative. That makes perfect sense, bro. Thanks for putting that into perspective. You also said you're a big advocate for psychedelics. Mm-hmm. Let's go into that, bro. Why is that?
Psychedelics, they rewire and fix the brain. They get in there, they're like little tiny workers going into your neural pathways and going, well, this here line's broken. Let's go ahead and sever that. Let's go reconnect it over here. Let's fix this and that. Like, it's always been looked at and used as a party drug.
Yeah, it's been frowned upon.
It's not a party drug.
No, it's not a party drug. I know people that do ayahuasca. One story I always like to share is I know someone, family friend. They're very wealthy. Actually, their family's very wealthy, and they're like our age. Mm-hmm. And they were hardcore alcoholic because they didn't have to work or do anything, so they just partied and drank, and nothing helped them. They went to Malibu, rehab, $50,000 a week. Psychologist, psychiatrist, nothing helped. This guy did ayahuasca, fixed, bro. Yeah. Overnight, I haven't tested him. I took him out. Like, hey, dude, let's go. Just had dinner. We went. I ordered his favorite drink when he went to the restaurant. We came back. He's like, oh, I don't want it. I'm like, no, just drink it. Just drink it. I won't tell anyone. He just didn't want it, bro. It was shocking to see. Because overnight, it just fixed them, dude.
And you're seeing that with ayahuasca, ibogaine, psilocybin, LSD, MDMA. Like, even they're doing, studies on veterans, combat veterans with like MDMA and psilocybin and all those with like a 90% success rate.
That's insane. 90%?
90%. I want to say it's the MDMA studies.
So those, oh man,
I
don't know the chemical.
You're doing them in settings with psychologists. So they're sitting there sitting with you in a nice safe space. They have physicians there, so you don't have to worry about, well, if I take this, what if I start freaking out? What if this happens?
Yeah.
You have at least the peace of mind of knowing there's medically trained doctors here to take care of me if I have an adverse side effect. So just having that, I think, in the mentality removes a lot of the idea of, oh, what if I have a bad trip?
So it removes the fear.
Yeah, it removes part of the fear. And then they're sent with a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever they're using who has built a rapport with them and has a history with them. So they can sit and walk them through their issues instead of just like, oh man, it's crazy. Look at this stuff moving. Look at my hands. They can sit and they can direct the trip. Let's talk about these issues. What are you thinking of? What's coming to light? And it brings all that to the surface and really hone in on that. And then the drug, for lack of a better word, is in there.
I don't think it's a drug.
Fixing semantics.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in there fixing all these broken pathways. Like, I remember hearing a story, I think it was on, you ever listen to the podcast Radiolab?
I've heard of it.
I want to say it was on that one. Not 100% because it's a long time ago listening to it. This guy did mushrooms. And he went in there for stopping smoking cigarettes. And they asked about it, like, well, did it work? He's like, yeah, I stopped instantly. Like, well, what was it like? How did you stop? He's like, well, when like a fly lands in your arm, you just shoot it away. Like, yeah, he goes, it was like that.
You just shoot it away.
Yeah, it was just like done.
But that's crazy how the power of the mind can do that. Like, yeah, I get it. The psychedelics definitely help it, but at the end of the day, it's just you.
Yeah,
you didn't want to do it. There has to be some will there.
Yeah.
But that's crazy how that works.
It's also like, if you look at a brain and a circuitry and all these little neurons just shoot.
Yeah.
All the electrical signals, they're kind of. So imagine an electrical grid.
Mm-hmm.
And what the psychedelic does is like takes a bucket of water and goes,
just pours
and it makes it go just zing. So everything is being connected, where logic connects this part to this part to this part to this part, where this takes logic, throws it against the wall, and it takes all these parts that aren't used to talking to each other, makes them talk to each other. So it allows you to see things from different angles,
consciousness,
from which you've never done before.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And I still like I don't get into the woo-woo stuff, but I like to keep just a little tiny small percentage part open of the area of the brain of like with DMT, you always hear of people's trips of like, man, they talk these little entities. They're always
talking about the machine elves that they talk about Joe Rogan experience. I've never seen anything like that. I've never done DMT though.
Yeah, I've never done it to the level of seeing it get to that point. I would like to one day. It scares the shit out of me.
Oh, why shouldn't
I would like to. But I like to think like maybe leave a little bit of room of doubt in there, of maybe we are, what these drugs are doing is unlocking something in the brain that lets us see into a fourth dimension. And it's giving us a window to this fourth dimension. That's what is going on. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe that. Don't buy into it, but I like to leave a little room in the imagination for that, because we really don't know.
Yeah, we really don't, bro.
Like I said, I'm a huge advocate against this kind of stuff, especially when you're charging what they charge for these things.
Yeah.
Mineral deposits. But that aside, maybe, could be. I can't say either,
yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, some people swear by it.
Even science has its limitations, and as time goes on, we develop more. You learn more and more that we didn't know before. Mm-hmm. So, any good scientist, any good skeptic is still going to leave a little room in there for doubt.
As they should. Yeah.
Just like I said, hardcore atheists believe nothing happens when we die. But I can't say it for sure. No one can say for sure. No one has ever died and came back. True death isn't the heart stopping and coming back. True death is the brain stopping. No one's come back from 8 minutes of brain death.
Yeah. I'm actually going to, have you ever been to Sedona, Arizona? Mm-hmm. There's like a vortex there where they say there's an energy source. I don't know if it's crystals or what it is, but like the earth just releases certain energy. So I'm going to go check that out. I don't know how much to believe in it, but I mean, I always like to look at it from a curious child's perspective. Mm-hmm. Oh, what is it? Let me just go check it out. I know some geologists talking about it, but like I said, there's always room for anything. I don't like to like shun it away, or like Joe Rogan even talks about. Don't go into something with a negative mindset, bro. Just anything's possible.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
The first thing I always look at with this kind of stuff
is the science.
The science and the price tag.
Well, that's pharmaceuticals. Yeah. One thing is
that's not $1.
Yeah, that's a lot more. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, go look at those.
I mean,
it's when price tag is like your first indicator.
Yeah.
And that's the same with.
But there's some stuff that I feel like science can't explain. Like, for example, I hear stories like of someone like lifting a car to save your child, and things like that. That like scientifically mean you can't really do, bro. Look, they'll break our arms off, but they're able to do it through the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like, how does that explain?
That science explaining.
I mean, they're not really able to.
It's more of a focus of everything, of your energy, of everything in a one, just instant.
Out of love.
They're not just like,
nah, they're not bench pressing.
It's like just that instantaneous, just boom, and it's just everything going to that one spot. Like, pure everything that they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely possible, bro. I've heard stories. I was on this meditation retreat where some guy helped his brother out of the plane. He had stage 4 cancer. He was our age, and he did chemo a week ago, and they gave him 6 months to live. And like, through the power of thought, through the meditation, dude, I saw him every single day from like 1 day to day 6 to get gradually better. And I've been keeping in contact with him. He's like, dude, he's getting better and better. He didn't walk, bro. He was dancing by day 4, which like is.
I mean, there's definitely something in that.
Yeah, there's definitely something in that.
Definitely, it's like we said.
Just don't tell the pharmaceutical companies.
All the drugs are in our brain. They're all in our brain.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to release them, not to mention like you eat once a day.
Yeah. Oh
man. I cycle through different little diets and stuff like that, just to try them out for different reasons. But with like the fasting, intermittent fasting, evolutionary wise and health wise, there's something in that, because when you're eating all day, every day, that's all you're doing, just constantly putting stuff in your system never stops. You're running that, you're overclocking that computer.
Yeah.
You know, when a computer slows down, you turn it off, let it cool down, you turn it back on, it's like a new computer, so much faster. That's what intermittent fasting and fasting is doing for the body.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. It's letting everything shut down long enough for it to take a break and start using this other, it's got other things going on that attacks cancerous cells, like the P53. The P53 gene is one of those responsible for cancer. It's that part in mitosis, or meiosis, I think mitosis, it's been so long since I've done anatomy. But it's the part where it goes through the cycle. When it gets to it, it goes, this cell is good or this cell is bad. If this cell is bad, we either fix it or destroy it. Well, when your body doesn't have the energy or the time to stop and focus on those because it's doing so many other things, that's how cancer develops, because that little spot right there gets bypassed, and then those cancer cells just start building instead of the body doing this natural thing. So if you tell someone they got cancer, you got 6 months to live, and they're the type of person that's like, well, it's time for me to live.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I can to live.
Yeah.
Then they start focusing on their diet. They start focusing on their lifestyle. They start focusing on their thoughts.
Yeah.
So it starts allowing the body to do its natural thing to recover.
That's awesome.
And if you look into chemo, there's like certain studies that are showing like chemotherapy really works on a very small percentage of individuals. Because there's a thing called, it's like, what is it? Numbers, like NNT or something. It's like the numbers needed. So how many people does this drug affect to make it worthy to put out on the market?
What is it, like 10%, 20%?
It's something stupid small.
Like 30?
I don't remember.
Like, is it below half though?
Yeah.
But that's wow.
Like apparently statins only work for like 5% of the population or something stupid. Don't hold me to my numbers. It's been a while since I looked into them, but it's something stupid.
I'm just wondering, it's less than half? Wow, okay.
For a placebo, when you're doing a study, it's got to be better than 50% to not be a placebo. It's different from the numbers needed to be able to put it on market.
Wow.
It's wild, the shit that's out there that they will prescribe to everyone, knowing that it doesn't work on a lot of people.
Wow.
It's like throwing spaghetti against a wall.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, definitely, brother. That's why, like, I always say, people have the power of God within them. You can help yourself at any point, bro, and get better, And then there's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Yeah,
we're talking about that off record. There's a lot in our culture, just society now. Like, men have to be like macho and tough, and they can't cry. That's not really true, bro. No. Like, there's nothing wrong with a grown man crying if he's sad or happy. And if someone wants to ask for help, dude, doesn't matter who they are, what they look like, if they're male, female, they should be able to ask for help and get it.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that.
Of course.
I'm gonna put that on record right now.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything that someone's been through. It doesn't make a warrior less of a warrior.
Yeah.
Like, you can chop heads off all day long.
Yeah.
You're allowed to cry about it at night.
Yeah, I agree.
And many do.
Yeah, but you don't have to be alone.
Yeah.
One last note, brother, before we end here. What do you think people could do now? I always ask this question. To just better their lives? They say they're in a shitty situation, or they just don't believe in themselves. What do you think someone could do just to better themselves? Or just get out of that rut, or just maybe like just slowly get out of it.
Try and focus. And I know it's hard to do. I've dealt with my own depressions.
I mean, we all have.
But you got to find a way to focus on, look at the good in your life. Like, the poorest person in this country has it better off than most of the people in the world.
Yeah.
Because people always talk about, oh, what would you do if apocalyptic times came? Yeah, I'm like, go to some of these countries right now. They are living through apocalyptic times there. They are living through a zombie apocalypse right now in places like Libya and Syria and shit like that. Put your life in that perspective. You can be homeless in this country and you can still find a place to be warm. You can walk into a gas station and go into a bathroom and get clean drinking water.
Yeah.
Clean yourself up.
The government would give you money, bro, to eat.
Yeah, there's just think a little more positive, like, how good do I have it? And get outside, go walk around the block, get the blood pumping, exercise. Like, that's the biggest thing. That's better than any psychiatric drug, just getting your blood pumping. I know how many times I felt like shit, or know someone felt like shit. I'm like, get up and walk. Just go walk around the block. Talk and walk around the block. Guaranteed you're gonna feel better. And almost every time you do.
Yeah, you do. You do. The sun, the rays.
Get off that couch. Stop feeling comfortable.
So awareness.
Comfortable is the enemy to the brain.
Yeah, that's the meditation I just came from, the Joe Dispenza retreat. So like every time you get comfortable, you automatically set up that old program where you're stuck in the same shithole.
Yeah.
You have to get uncomfortable, so you build new pathways and new programs. So what you're doing is unwiring the brain.
Yeah.
Or reprogramming the brain is actually the correct term. Like you said, you could do it with psychedelics, psilocybin mushrooms, or you could just do it by just changing your routine. It could be as simple as taking a different drive to work.
Yeah. It's that old adage, idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah, I heard that before. Yeah, you're getting bored, which is true. Cool. Right on, brother. Thank you so much, man. Where do you think people can catch you, dude? Like, where's your YouTube?
My YouTube is called The Pursuit of Misery.
Okay.
And I named it that because we're always talking about the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of happiness. You don't have happiness without misery. Most people have more misery than they do happiness. Embrace the misery, because by embracing the misery, it makes the happiness that much more profound.
Okay.
And marklabarge.com, Mark LaBarge Comedy on Instagram. And you can find me through most of those. All my links are on the webpage. And like I said, look out in the future as I start cranking up my comedy. I'm gonna start going on tour again and doing that.
Good.
So you'll find me jump out of planes during the day or off the bridges, and then on stage at night, just trying to kill it.
I'm gonna come out on Tuesday and check you out, bro.
Check it out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.